All right, so we've laid the foundation. You understand what copywriting is. You understand how people work. You understand how businesses interact with them and how that value exchange works. Now we're going to dive into an important skill that's going to set you apart from everyone else inside of the field, right? This is going to help you avoid a major mistake that most new copywriters make. It's going to give your writing significant potency. It's going to increase the quality of everything you do. So without further ado, or any other French words, as I like to say, let's move into the actual content here. So research. Research is the mark of the professional copywriter, right? So let's imagine for a second right now, you blink and you open your eyes, all of a sudden, boom, you find yourself jumping out of a plane in the middle of the night over Normandy in the 1940s, right? You're parachuting behind German lines with the 101st Airborne Division, and you are 100% certain that when you land, you will be surrounded by the enemy from the moment your boots hit the ground. Now, let's imagine as you're floating through the air, you're going to land. All of a sudden, you realize that although you do have your trusty rifle with you, you have jumped out of that plane without a single round of ammunition, no bullets. How would you rate your chances of survival? You're gonna land on the ground, the Germans will start shooting, and how are you gonna return fire? How are you actually gonna be effective, right? If you sit down and try and write persuasively, if you try and write that email, that Facebook ad, that landing page, or whatever, without doing your research beforehand, it's exactly like running off into a gunfight without any ammunition. It doesn't matter how skilled of a writer you are, if you don't have the ammunition of an understanding of that customer, their world, the way they describe their problem. If you don't understand that or have done the research to understand that person, their problem, their situation from their terms, if you haven't collected that information, there's nothing to feed into your skill set of copywriting. There's no way for you to actually write in a way that's effective, right? Yeah, a rifle without bullets is just a baseball bat, right? Not as effective. So most copywriters, though, they get excited. They sit down, oh, cool, I'm gonna write this thing, I'm gonna write this sales, and they sit down and start trying to write because they get to finally do that thing that we like to do. Because writing's fun, right? Once you actually get in the flow of it, dude, writing is a blast, right? But a lot of people jump into it too early, just start slinging words in that Google Doc, and they usually hit walls. Their copy is empty. Professionals first research. They sit down, and the first thing they do is they do the research. They seek to understand the avatar, they seek to understand the problem, and that gives them the information they need to then sit down and intelligently write in a way that's going to resonate with that customer, that is going to motivate them, that is going to direct them in the correct way. So what do we look for when we do our research, right? We've talked about how important it is. Let's talk about how to actually do this stuff, right? So essentially, you're looking for this information, right? You're going to try to determine who your target market is. And you're going to try and determine who a good avatar would be for that. You're going to seek to understand their current state. You're going to try to seek to understand their dream state. You're going to identify their key roadblock, the thing that's actually keeping them from getting what they want. And then you're going to understand the solution, that sort of if-then that's going to give them the thing that they actually like. And you understand what the product is and how to frame it in a way that fits in with this sort of map of reality and fits in with helping them get from their current state to their dream state as quickly and easily as possible, right? So the first thing, obviously, target market. You're going to ask yourself, what kind of person is going to get the most out of this product and service? Who's going to get the most out of it, right? Who are the best current customers and with the highest LTV? If you're sitting down working with a client, you're going to want to sit down and identify, okay, who's your best customers, right? If you could clone one of your current customers 1,000,000 times, who would you pick, right? That's the person you want to start with. What you want to identify, of this group of guys that are really good customers, or gals, or whatever, right? This group of current customers that are great. Do they have any attributes they share in common? Is there one sort of type of person? You want to identify the target market. If you're sitting down with an offer that you haven't done research on yet, or you are sitting down with a potential client, so you don't have access to all their best customers, you're gonna have to make your best guess, right? You're gonna go based on the current testimonials, the people that look like they're getting the most out of it, and sort of make your hypothesis of what the target market is. Or you're just gonna guess. You're gonna say, okay, this is the product, this is the service. I kind of understand a little bit. I'm assuming that this type of person is the one that's gonna be the highest value customer. It's the one we want to identify. You get to kind of choose who your target market will be, and then if you write for that target market, that type of person will respond. You can basically kind of reverse engineer or choose your target market to some extent, and just by deciding who you would like to work with, right? It's extremely important. Start with target market. Once you've identified who your target market is, then you want to create your avatar. And we've already talked about how to create an avatar based on based on like sort of the context clues you get from a product. We've talked about how to do it. You've done this already, so you know how to do this. The next step is then you do create that avatar. You sort of dial in who you're going to be writing to. You give yourself some context, and you're going to have to go out and find out some information about these people, right? You're going to try and understand what their life history is, understand a day in the life. You're going to check and see based on the context clues from the things that they write online or the conversations you have with them, what their values are, what outside forces they feel run their life, that sort of stuff, right? Once you've identified your target market and your avatar, then you move to your current state. Now you're going to recognize these questions. These are some of the questions you've already looked at, right? You're going to look for what's painful or frustrating their current life of their avatar with their current situation before they get into that product, before they start changing their life. What do they not like about that previous life? What annoys them? What do they fear? What do they lie awake at night worrying about, tossing and turning in the middle of the night? That's a good question to get your mind going. How do other people perceive them, right? So like, what's their status? Like, how do their friends, family, and relatives perceive them? How do authority figures perceive them? How does the opposite sex like perceive them? How do they perceive themselves? That's an important point. What lack of status do they feel like when they move through the world? Like, do they feel like they don't have very like what's their status? Do they lack status? Do they wish they had more status? What insults do they feel from the world as they move through their life with their current problem, right? And the key thing here is during your research, you're going to want to find the words that they use to describe their pains and frustration. Now, this is extremely, extremely important. Let me explain why. You see, a copywriter who talks at a person will have a certain level of influence. But copywriters who can enter the conversation that is occurring in the mind of their prospect or the reader, sort of get inside and speak the same language or say the same things or at least identify the same things that they're actually saying to themselves about all this stuff in their head, right? Like the person who can, the copywriter or marketer who can do that, they gain instant authority, instant trust, and instant rapport with that reader. The reader then becomes convinced that this person understands their problem, their situation, and then any kind of solution that they recommend, they are going to inherently believe that it will work for them just because they know that the person who is recommending it understands them on a deep level, right? And this is an important point too, as a marketer, you don't create desire. We don't convince somebody to want something or convince someone to want to hate something about their life. We just find the things that they already dislike, the things they're already thinking in their heads, that are already current frustrations and pains, and we just amplify it, right? So your job in this research is to identify what those things actually are. What are the things right now in their current life? What are their current pains and frustrations? What do they not like? What are the things that they dislike? And we're just going to find ways to amplify that. So you need to find the ways that they are talking about it right now so that you can use their language right back at them. You can enter that pain and that frustration as it exists in their brain, and then you can amplify it using some tools we'll talk about later. So once you've identified their current state, then you need to identify their dream state. What are the things they desire? If they could wave that magic wand of their life, fix everything, what would it look like? What enjoyable new experiences would they have? How would others perceive them in a positive light? How would their status change? How would they feel about themselves? How would the way they feel about themselves change, right? How does it change once, like what do they wish they felt like about themselves? If you can connect your product and solution to that thing, man, they'll be all over it. And they're more likely to achieve that feeling, right? And then you need to figure out what words they use right now to describe that dream outcome. Again, you want to enter that desire that already exists in their brain, the way they're already talking about it, and then amplify it, right? You're not trying to insert anything new in there. You're just trying to find something they already want and amplify it. Now, you might connect that with a new idea or concept and all that stuff, but you need to find what they already have in their brain. The dream state, that desire they already have, you want to find that so then you can amplify it and work with that. Because you can't put new things in their brain. You have to work with what they already have, right? You can't change the things they already want or the things they hate. You can't really change that. People are going to want what they want. They're going to hate what they hate. It's your job to step in and just work with that. That's like the ammunition you have to work with, right? So once you've identified the current state, their dream state, you need to identify their roadblocks. So you've got to ask yourself, what is keeping them from living their dream state today? What mistakes are they making that are keeping them from getting what they want in life? What part of the obstacles does that avatar not understand or even know about? Like, what are they running into that they don't even understand? What is one key roadblock that once fixed will allow them to move forward toward their dream outcome? Like, these are some questions you can ask yourself as you're reviewing the information you will be finding in your research. And we'll talk about where to find it and what to look for and stuff like that. But as you're reading what these people are saying, as you're identifying what these people are thinking, you want to take time to answer these questions, identify what that key roadblock is for them. Now, part of it is going to be like looking at what they're not talking about, right? When they're talking about current situations, talking about what they're blaming and all that stuff, you're going to see what they're not talking about. And this is where you are going to create a sort of a shift in their brain. You're going to introduce new beliefs or ideas, but it only can occur once you've worked with and tied into their current dreams and desires, right? That's why those are the first ones. This is the next part, is understanding that key roadblock. This might take some time, right? A lot of people can easily find the dream state and the current state. They can figure that stuff all out. It's pretty apparent. This one takes some advanced critical thinking and problem solving, right? As you are searching for this information, most people have the tendency to simplify or sort of skip over or just kind of go vague here on the understanding of the roadblock. If you don't understand their key roadblock, you will not be able to adequately persuade them, right? If you cannot reveal the key issue that's keeping them from getting what they want, and then that corollary solution. If you're vague or unsure about how this all works, it's going to be impossible for you to position the stuff that you're presenting, the communication that you're doing in a way that's exciting, builds curiosity, all that stuff. It's almost impossible to do so if you don't understand the key roadblock that's keeping them from getting what they currently want. Once you understand that, then you can actually take all that desire and put them in the right place. You can't skip over the stuff. You can't get vague. You want to be as detailed and as accurate and as crystalline as possible with each of these elements. You need to understand how they all connect together. There can't be any gaps. There can't be any leakages. You have to understand the flow of the ideas here. Once you understand that roadblock, then you just flip it. You have to understand the solution. It's just the other side of that coin. The inverse of the roadblock is the solution, right? What does the avatar need to do to overcome that key roadblock? What actions do they need to take? What's the solution to that roadblock? They probably don't know it, right? If they don't know it, they don't know how to execute on it, or they don't have the tools to execute on it. Again, this can be distilled down into that if they insert solution, do this thing, then they will be able to insert dream outcome, get the thing that they want, right? Once you've got that, you've again become crystal clear on that. That's a solid, real idea in your brain. Then you can move on to the product. Now, this is where research really comes in handy. You need to understand, how does the product actually help the avatar implement that solution? Because again, they might know their key roadblock. They might know their key. They might know their key, the key solution, like thing that they need to do, but they might not have the tools or the ability to do it. This is where you position the product as the thing that's going to help them take advantage of that solution finally, and make it easy, quick, risk-free, and fast to get the thing that they want. You know, how does this product help the reader increase their chances of success? How does it help the reader get the result faster? How does the product help them get the result with less effort or less sacrifice? What makes this product fun and exciting, right? Like that's an important part that a lot of people overlook. What makes this cool and fun and enjoyable, right? What does your target market like about related products, and what do they dislike and hate about different products? So one of the things you'll be doing is you'll be going out and finding similar or related products that solve that problem for that same avatar, that they help them overcome that same roadblock, get the same outcome. You're going to look at that, and you're going to find out, what do they really, really like about these products? And those are those aspects of things they like. That might be something you want to incorporate in the way you present your product. But almost more important is you want to identify the things that they currently hate about the existing solutions that are out there in the world, right? Because if they hate those things about that product, and you show that your product does it in an opposite way, it flips that thing that they hate, or removes that part of the problem, or makes it to where it's not this, but it's this actual thing that they like, you flip it on them from something they hate and something that they like, then you're going to stand out competitively compared to the other products. Your product will now look like it has all the answers and has that problem taken away, right? Imagine like you're going to buy a car, and all the other models are cool, but the AC isn't that great, right? Like they're fast, they're awesome, they're amazing, they're super comfortable, all this stuff, but the AC kind of sucks. And then there's this other one product that has all those same things. It's got the fast car, all cool looks, comfortable seats, but the AC is awesome, right? Which one is the person most likely going to buy? Unless there's some other, big important reason, people are going to pick the one that has that one thing that they like. So you want to identify any opportunities that exist in the market so you can exploit them when you create your product, right? So where do you go to find all this information? There's a lot of places. The best place is the client and their current customers, right? So typically when you're sitting down to work with a client, they at some point went through that same journey that their customers do. They usually Most businesses are solving a problem that they had before. So they're going to understand what it was like before this product existed. They're going to understand what they wanted. They're going to have all that information inside their own brain. And they've been working with clients and customers in the space for a long time. So you can ask them these questions and they can usually give you some good answers, right? What's even better than that is asking or identifying their current customers. Again, especially when you're trying to find the avatar, when you're trying to find the target market, if you can sit down, if you can set up a meeting with a business's best customer and talk with them about these things and record that meeting and take notes, my friend, that is a gold mine of information. You'll be able to speak directly. That's your avatar. And now you know your exact avatar language, you know, all of the stuff like that is the best, right? If you can't actually do a conversation, read their online testimonials. If they got video testimonials, that's great. If they just got written testimonials, that's cool too. That's the first place you go to look for this information, right? Then you go on social media, watch that company's YouTube videos, read the comments, look at the comments on, you know, their Instagram post, their TikTok, whatever, right? Just go read the comments, go read what people are saying and talking about, the videos that are related to this topic, you know, this roadblock, the solution, their frustrations. Go read that and see what they say. People overshare online. It's crazy, right? People will just go in, they'll share their deepest, darkest emotional experiences, things that they've gone through. You got to take advantage of it. One of my favorite places to go is Amazon.com reviews. So if you go and look for books, especially like it's a product that's like information or course or something like that, you go find a book that's supposed to help people get the same outcome that your product does, right? And then go read the 5-star reviews, see all the things that people like. Typically, people will overshare there. They'll talk about their transformation. They'll talk about what they're experiencing before. You get a ton of stuff. They'll talk about what they really, really like about the information that's presented, right? And then go look at the 1-star reviews. That's where people will tell you the things they disliked about that product. Again, that's extremely important. You get a lot of cool information there. You identify opportunities to help people that are underserved currently. Another place to go look online is Reddit. There's community subreddits for almost any sub niche or avatar that exists out there. You can go and collect their language, their experience, get context about other aspects of things they're dealing with. It's a fantastic place to go and look to find pains and frustrations and find desires and find things that they tried in the past that haven't worked and things that do work, that kind of stuff. Quora is really good as well. It's a good platform to go find questions and answers surrounding that problem that the product solves about people trying to get that same outcome. It's extremely, extremely useful because you also see a lot of answers that people are giving. It's a gold mine of information. And then, of course, trusty Google, right? When in doubt, do a Google search, right? There's ways even to filter your results by just like forums and like discussion boards and stuff like that. Again, if you just Google things, you know, Google the customer, use that same customer language as you've identified these other sources and throw it in Google, you'll find all sorts of cool opportunities to just mine through people oversharing and talking about their problems and desires and their roadblocks and solutions. And you'd be surprised what you can find online, right? And again, this is going to take some time, right? You're going to go out and you're going to comb over the internet to try and find this information. Now, I'm going to do a walkthrough video where I show you some examples of like looking at through some of these different places to go find this information, so you can kind of get a feel for what it looks like. But you're going to sit down and you're going to do this research before you do any serious writing, right? It's like that old Abraham Lincoln quote. You know, if I only had an hour to chop down a tree, I would spend the first 45 minutes sharpening my axe. This is extremely, extremely applicable here, right? If you want to write and persuade on a deep level, if you want to communicate and build rapport with people, if you want to have the ability to show up to any market online, any industry, and put together a copywriting plan, an internet marketing plan that resonates with people, takes advantages of gaps in the marketing, and persuades people at the deepest level, and are able to then ascend them up higher than anybody else up a value ladder. Doing your research is extremely important, and this is something you definitely need to do before you start writing, but something you continue to do as you move through working with a particular brand or running your own brand, right? You're going to continue to be mining the world for this sort of information so that you can continually refine your message and improve your message so it continues to persuade at a deeper and deeper level. Research is key. Research is a way to stand out from the masses and to persuade deeply. And again, I'll be doing a walkthrough. You'll be doing some practice research to go out and learn how to gather this information. This is something that will set you apart from anybody you end up competing with on that global level as a marketer.